What's up guys, John here. I've never been more bullish on America than I am right now. And I believe over the next several years, we will see the first trillionaire being created. We'll see millionaires grow by 10 or 20x. We'll see many more people become billionaires. We'll see this wealth continue to flow to the top. And when you look at where we are right now compared to where we were 10 or 15 years ago, it's quite clear what the future will look like. 15 years ago, if you wanted to go make $100,000 a year, $200,000 a year, more than likely you'd have to apply yourself in college for 4 to 8 years, take on student loan debt. You'd have to really lock yourself in a room and study and work hard, work under someone after you graduated. And then eventually when you're 40 or 45 years old, you would make enough to where you could take care of a family. But now where we are is someone could go out online right now and 6 months later making $100,000 a month or $50,000 a month. They can do this without taking on student loan debt. But when you look at the amount of change that's unfolded since 2020, and you look at what is coming due over the next 24 to 36 months, you'll see that those that apply themselves now will be able to capitalize on this major period of financial stress that's incoming.
The Mortgage Bankers Association says over the next 2 years in the US alone, $1.4 trillion of debt coming due.
$1.2 trillion of CRE debt maturing in the next 2 years.
That's why I believe we're in the greatest period in American history right now for entrepreneurs and investors to be able to go out there and buy up all this distress. Look at this, for example. Just commercial real estate debt. There's $1.5 trillion due next year. By 2027, that number is $2.2 trillion. For context, commercial real estate, it could be 5 units and above, multifamily. It could be retail. It could be, it could even be warehouse space. Commercial real estate debt, $2.2 trillion. It's a $20 trillion market. It's 10% of all commercial properties throughout the country. They owe money that's coming due in the next 2.5 years, give or take. When borrowing costs go from 3% to call it 7%, and they have to refinance this debt as insurance has skyrocketed.
Office vacancies hitting an all-time high record.
94 million square feet of empty office space in Manhattan. That is an all-time record.
Austin currently has an all-time high office vacancy rate.
Many offices around San Francisco are sitting empty. Vacancy rate at an all-time high.
Taxes have gone up and vacancies have increased. You have a 50-year high in apartment construction with rents softening across many of the hottest markets: Miami, Nashville, Austin, Phoenix, Denver. You look at a lot of these areas, rents are softening in a really big way.
Apartment rents have been cooling off sharply for several months now.
Rental prices are coming down around the country.
Nashville rents have decreased by 6% since last year.
And so as this all begins to unfold, a lot of these investors have a hard time getting out loans. And this is just commercial real estate. In this video, I'm going to show you what's about to unfold throughout the entire economy. And today's video is sponsored by Moomoo, but more on that in just a little bit. Take a look at this. So you look at real household income. In 2019, it was $81,210. Now it's $80,610. So real inflation has picked up roughly 22%. When you're looking at grocery prices, car prices, energy prices, everything is picked up.
What's this? What the is this? Huh? What's this?
Now, if real wages have dropped from, basically, let's just call it they stayed the same, but 81,000 to, 80,000. They've stayed the same, but the cost of everything has increased 22%. The only thing left to give is going to be debt or standard of living, right? So this is likely going to continue to grow. And so as that's unfolding, you start to look at what's happening with corporate debt. Corporate debt, they owe $2.82 trillion, which is set to come due in the next 3 years. This is debt corporations took out, most of which was at very, very low interest rates. You have a lot of these ghost companies, a lot of these companies that shouldn't be in business, but they're in business, they owe a lot of money, and they're hiring and paying a lot of employees to try to make these businesses successful. Well, a lot of these companies are going to be going out of business, and I believe the unemployment rate is going to continue to go up. And as that unfolds, a lot of these people are going to be shutting down office square footage, which is going to have even more impacts and ramifications on commercial real estate. And it's also going to make it pretty challenging for a lot of these employees, CEOs, CFOs, people involved in these companies, being able to pay their own mortgages and their own obligations. So I believe there's going to be a ripple effect Goldman Sachs has been talking about this, JP Morgan Chase talking about this, saying that unemployment is going to be going up because of all this.
I get someone with a job to do that job.
So as that's unfolding, a wide-ranging poll of 2,000 executives conducted by Swiss staffing firm Eneco Group in collaboration with the research firm and Oxford Economics showed 41% of them expect to employ fewer people because of technology. So they talk about AI and generative AI. And so if you are an entrepreneur and you want to start a business, no more do you have to go out there and pay someone $6, $7, $8, $10,000 a month to do something for you. You're going to be able to get it done either by outsourcing that job or by using AI. So it's going to allow you to make a company successful with a lot less risk going forward in the future. This is also going to continue to push forward on unemployment. Now, what I find fascinating is what's going to happen with retail real estate, with the entire shopping experience. They predict, Google AI is predicting that we're going to see an estimated 50,000 closures, retail closures, specialty retail closures in the next 3 years. So for context, last year there was 6,189 store closures, right? So when you have 6,100 closures in a year and they're predicting 50,000 over the next, call it 3 years. Well, when you look at that $2.82 trillion in commercial real estate debt, things will start to make a lot more sense. As these retailers lose some of their anchor tenants, these big tenants that are responsible for a large chunk of that mortgage, they start losing these anchor tenants. The other tenants, they want to pay less. The reason for it is when you have an anchor tenant that's bringing a lot of foot traffic, a lot of that foot traffic will bring attention to your business. Well, when they go out of business, it's a lot more pressure on that business and the commercial real estate owner, as well as the bank. Now, as that is all unfolding, they're predicting that there's going to be this silver tsunami. Now, it'll be interesting to see if, in fact, this does happen. A lot of retirees own a lot of single-family homes, and many of these retirees thought that they have enough cash to make it through retirement. But the last 5 years have been pretty uncertain, and the cost of living so far has increased 22%. So if this does, in fact, continue, you could just imagine what this is going to mean for retirees. They're going to have to sell off these properties or rent them out. They're going to have to find alternatives to be able to weather the storm. And I think we could see a lot of these retirees selling off properties. But in an inflationary environment, this could be a big opportunity for investors. The Federal Reserve just cut interest rates by 50 basis points for the first time in 4 years, opening up exciting investment opportunities. If you're ready to take advantage of this shift, the sponsor of this video, Moomoo, is the perfect platform, an internet brokerage platform with the #1 rating in TradingView. Moomoo Cash Sweep is offering 8.1% APY for a limited time. It is calculated daily and paid monthly, and you can make deposits and withdrawals at any time. Moomoo also has specialized features to help you simplify the investment research process, such as investment themes, eliminating the need for you to analyze the time spent on looking for stocks. With Moomoo, you can track sectors like Treasury Gold using their thematic ETF feature. Moomoo also offers 6 types of conditional orders like stop loss and take profit, helping you manage investments without constant monitoring. Plus, Moomoo has low fees with 0 commission on US stocks, options, and ETFs, and no minimum deposits. And for new users, there's an incredible welcome bonus, up to 15 free stocks with qualifying deposits, and a 1.5% transfer in bonus up to $300. Don't miss out. Click the link below to start investing with Moomoo today. How they say this is all going to unfold is going to be happening alongside an insurance crisis. They say insurance is going to continue to go up because of inflation, which if you look at Florida, you look at California, you look at a lot of these weather events, you're going to see that it's more than likely insurance is going to be going up. So retirees are not ready for that. And I think if you're buying in some of these high-risk areas, you're going to be able to get a really good deal if you're paying all cash in the coming couple of years. And if you own commercial property or a home in this area, just get ready for a lot of change. I think we're going to start to see a lot more inventory pop up here because it's going to really catch a lot of people off guard. Look at San Francisco, for example. Just 2 hours ago, they're talking about the first ever tornado. Right, San Francisco Chronicle, Yahoo News, talking about this, ABC. Just last week they were talking about a tsunami around Northern California. So a lot of these interesting events that are unfolding. But as that's all happening, 80% of all USD has been printed since 2020. This post got 1.7 million views. It says, since 2020, the U.S. printed 80% of all U.S. dollars in circulation. To put that into perspective, at the start of 2020, we had 4 trillion in circulation. Now there's nearly 19 trillion in circulation, a 375% jump in 3 years. We are paying the price for trillions of dollars that were printed seemingly overnight. Why is the Fed surprised that inflation hit a 4-year high? So when you're looking at this, you have to ask yourself, is saving money the right move? Well, I would argue no.
No, God! No, God, please, no! No!
If you're not investing and growing your money, at inflation or higher, then you're losing your purchasing power. And that's going to be the big game over the next 5 years. It's going to be outpacing inflation. So whatever you invest in, make sure that it's an investment that you feel really, really good about, and you know that it's going to, outpace inflation, or you feel very confident that it will. I mean, what a lot of people are betting on is that even fast food prices are going to continue to go up. Like they've talked a lot about, McDonald's, which I don't recommend eating, but McDonald's, $18 Big Mac meals. And I wouldn't surprise me to see this go up to $25 in the coming 5 or 10 years. And these prices just continue to go up and up and up, right? So Wall Street is looking at this and they're buying up entire neighborhoods. Like if you were an institutional investor and you saw, hey, look, 80% of USD was printed in the last 4 years, what would you do? Right? You look at retail, you look at commercial real estate, you'd say, you know what? Some big opportunities there, that's for sure. And a lot of these companies are going to be buying up a lot of this distressed real estate directly from the banks, but they're also going to be buying up tons and tons of single-family homes in a lot of areas throughout the country. Institutions set to own 40% of single-family rental homes, right? 40%. And they make this prediction. When the pandemic hit the U.S. in March 2020, people experienced mass confusion. No one knew how long it would last or what would happen. New business models emerged and new influencers shaped the financial markets. One of the most interesting outcomes was the birth of meme stocks. And they talk about AMC, GameStop, talk a little bit about Elon. But the big conversation here is that these single-family rental companies are just going to be coming out acquiring tons and tons and tons of homes. Like here, BTR, 7,700 units in 2022, institutional buyers have committed to over 5,000 units just in Phoenix. And they hit Tampa, North Carolina, Charlotte, Texas, all the big markets, right? They're investing in all of these big markets. So why are they going to be doing this? It's a great hedge against inflation. And if one, let's say for example, an institution owns your home and they know that you're making $50,000 a year and they're renting you your home for $2,000, and every house on the street is owned by an institution. If one institution increases rent to $2,200, the other will probably introduce it to $2,100. And as they continue to do that, they're going to erode living standards and increase profitability for their shareholders and investors, which they have a fiduciary duty to do. So that's what they're going to do. They're going to buy these properties and increase rents. That's why it's so important to invest. Even Steven Schwarzman, CEO of Blackstone, they founded Invitation Homes right out of the GFC, Great Financial Crisis. Him and Jonathan Gray, they grew that to 80,000 single-family homes, and then they sold it. Right, a large chunk of their holdings they sold. Right, so when you look at that, you're like, okay, well, how is this all gonna, how's everything gonna kind of transition here in this economy? Because we know that these institutions are gonna start investing more and more and more, and we know retail is in really, really big trouble. Well, I think there's gonna be 2 major shifts that are gonna unfold. One is gonna be micro-influencers. These micro-influencers that are going to be selling things on TikTok Shop, selling things on Instagram, selling things online. Because if you were a large corporation, you couldn't afford US labor, or it didn't make financial sense to afford it, and you don't want to spend a lot of money on retail, what would you do? You'd probably go out there and do brand deals with a lot of these influencers. And that's, I think, what's going to be happening. So TikTok wants to turn millions of Americans into paid shopping influencers. You only need around 1,000 followers to earn money, eating noodles, selling toys on TikTok Shop. So I think TikTok Shop is going to be really, really big for the next couple of years. Then it says more than half of US Gen Zers are headed to TikTok Shop this season. Well, what I think is going to happen is, remember, a few years ago, maybe 10 years ago, it was Jared at Subway. He made $15 million promoting Subway. And then you have the lady at Progressive, right? She was making $1 million a year. Her name was Flo. She's making $1 million a year. What I think is going to happen are these large corporations are going to go from hiring and paying influencers and doing brand deals with these influencers to these AI influencers that are going to be super focused and hyper-focused on a tailored demographic, and they're going to have 5 or 6 or 10 of these AI clones that match the perfect personality of what they would want when they buy. Like, for example, look at what's happening with like OnlyFans. AI influencers are making their secretive creators tens of thousands of dollars a month. Now an OnlyFans rival is betting on a lucrative virtual girlfriends. So I think we're going to see AI influencers, not just OnlyFans, but AI influencers, selling car insurance, selling sandwiches, selling everything. And it's going to allow these companies to be able to operate and grow their businesses with reduced cost. They'll be able to bring down, their expenses dramatically, and increase their profits. And I think that's what corporations are going to do. So I think there's going to be several steps here. The first is it's going to be a crunch of the middle class. As inflation gets worse, there's going to be a lot of people looking to deploy capital. And if you are, looking to deploy capital, you want to do it. And if you are taking out debt, you want fixed rate debt. And you want to make sure you understand what's unfolding in the insurance markets where you're looking to invest. But you start to kind of pay attention to these changes and the amount of opportunity that's going to be coming. It's going to be unlike anything we've ever experienced. If you have internet connection, you can literally learn anything. And if you got to do anything, really, you got to apply yourself and do anything you want. I mean, you have people on TikTok Shop making $1 million a month. $1 million a month using their cell phone, right? So you could either consume content on TikTok or create it. And if you create it and maybe you have your own business and you start to become your own influencer, it's a great way for you to scale this up and reduce your cost. And what do you think about this entire situation? I think we're going to see AI have such a major role in the future. I think a lot of these AI companies are going to go out of business, and I feel like there's going to be some that are going to really explode. Look at Amazon, right, in the dot-com bubble. There was a couple companies that really did extremely well, and most of them went out of business, but the ones that did well did very well. I think that's what's going to happen in tech. I think that's going to happen in retail. I think that's going to happen in a lot of companies. So if you do your homework and you apply yourself, I think you're going to make a lot of money. And I'm really bullish on America the next 4 or 5 years because of the amount of opportunity that we're stepping into in this country. What do you think about this entire situation? Let's have a conversation about this below. And for more information on Moomoo, today's sponsor, you can click the link in the description just below this video. I'll catch you next video.